we are all well rested and ready for day 2. As you can see, it's a tight program, and so we are going to move right into our first plenary session, which is self-care in a post-pandemic era, strategies for innovation and inclusion. This will be done by Mrs. Kadeen Miles Campbell. Mrs. Miles Campbell has 25 years of experience in education, having served as a principal of both primary and secondary institutions. Through a USAID-funded program, Kadeen has worked closely with 3 technical tertiary institutions: the University of Technology, Jamaica, the Vocational Training Development Institute, and TheCCCJ, to provide support and identifying and implementing capacity development activities, including curricular development and repurposing. She was also involved in the design and implementation of training and development plans for lecturers who had to deliver those new programs. Over the past year, Mrs. Miles Campbell has done extensive research on behavioral challenges. She is with us today, and this promises to be a very wonderful, edifying, and enlightening presentation. And so I'm going to invite you to put your hands together and welcome her to the podium.
Thank you, Mr. Harvey. Good morning, family. Yes, I'd really like you to come a little closer to me. It feels a little warmer. Can I embrace the protocols that were established yesterday? Good morning, family. Good morning. I'm taking the liberty of calling you family because we are family. And I want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to share with you my lifestyle change, my own personal transformation that I do believe that you include in your life, you will see a remarkable change. It is important at a point at this time that we take care of self. As educators, we have been taught to be lawyer, doctor, counselor, teacher, everybody, nurse, for everyone. And at the end of the day, we are left drained, tired, stressed. We have been taught about the use of music therapy, the use of art therapy, taking walks by the beach, getting the spa treatment, having mind-blowing sex. I wanted to see if you were listening to me. But at the end of all that high, you know, after listening to the music and doing the art, we go back down. And a lot of us are living in a kind of fog. Is this really it? Is this what life is? And some people are becoming increasingly depressed. Some people perhaps contemplate suicide. Or some who are not quite there just wish they could go for a very, 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 very long sleep. But I want us to have a deep dive into looking at who you are, this self. And if you need to change anything that is not going so well, you have to change your self-image, who you see yourself as. And we're going to be looking at those tools and strategies where you're recreating self. And when you include those in your life's journey, and I promise you that if you even do one of these strategies, use one of these tools, you are going to see remarkable change. Hello. Oh, okay. Let me go back. When you can't control what is happening, challenge yourself to control the way you respond to what is happening. That is where your power lies. When you can't control what is happening, challenge yourself to control the way you respond. Oftentimes, we spend our lives just reacting to things. So, earthquake in Afghanistan. 4 children are shot or killed. The bank calls me. CCJ wants something else. New. My children are, and we're like that constantly. Just like that. What I want us throughout the course of our little time together is how we're going to almost retrain our brain, taking a different pathway when things happen, and we recognize what we can control and what we can't control. As educators and administrators, we are control freaks. We want things to go our way so that the goals that we have set out are achieved. But I want you to know that there are many, many, many things you can't control. And when you recognize that you can't control it, things become easier. So, I cannot control people's thoughts. You can't control people's thoughts. There's somebody around the back saying, look here, I didn't get enough time at this hotel, and I am going to slip out as soon as I can and go get myself a daiquiri, and maybe I can go back in the jacuzzi before we leave here. I can't control that thought. I can't control somebody's words. Somebody says to Doc, that is foolishness though. There's no control there. She can't stop them from saying what she wants. You can't stop the person from saying what he or she wants. You can't control other people's feelings. You cannot control other people's behavior. And I'll tell you a little bit of story. So right when we were in the heart of the pandemic, my husband needed to go to Canada to take care of some business that he had. So he called our daughter and he says, look, I'm coming to Canada. And she says, Daddy, you cannot come now because I work in the food industry. And it means that I will have to quarantine with you now. And that won't work. And, he mulled over and he called his friend from long time that they run road. And his friend said, oh, I have a girlfriend, you can go and stay with her. So he comes to me with this wonderful idea. And I tell you, family, I was livid that he could even conceive of something like that. And I tell you, I said, first of all, if the shoe were on the other foot, would you be comfortable with it? And storm out. And I tell you, between walking from the bedroom to the kitchen, I had seen the affair blossom to this headless woman, I don't know. I saw the divorce. This is in seconds, and the conclusion that I was not going to be satisfied with a half. I want 3/4 for this terrible injustice. And so I went into the kitchen, and my mind, sometimes it's not a still small voice, says, I see you are not very responsive. That was very reactionary, wasn't it? And I had to stop. And I said, Kadeen, you cannot control this man's feelings, even if he's in Jamaica here with you. And even though you cut his toenails for him and allow him to watch his sports undisturbed, you can't control how he feels. So if he wants to go off and have some torrid affair under your nose, after me in Canada, there's nothing you can do about it. And I calmed myself down and I said, look here, this is a grown man and he should know. And furthermore, if he wants to give up all of this, so I went back and I said, okay, fine. Retraining your mind. I almost got a brain aneurysm, in nanoseconds over a thought. And we do that all the time. So we're going to now do that. What I can control my thoughts. How far I'm going to go down this deep end, or I'm not going to go down this deep end. What my words are, what my actions are, what my behavior is, and how I feel. And I want you to remember that. So don't try and control the children and the school and your husband and your wife and the government. It won't work. Now, this is something that I want us to spend a little time thinking about. We have been cultured in such a way that we're always being compared and we're always seeking validation from people. Even when we're at the highest and the top of our game, we still do that. And I want you to know, so this is where we're moving away from some of the things that we've always believed to be true and so on. You do not need anyone's affection or approval in order to be good enough. Can you read that with me, please? Ready? You don't need good enough. You are good enough all by yourself. And when somebody rejects you or abandons you, it's based on their own experience, their own needs, their own insecurities, not you. So don't take it on. When we're growing up, our parents would say, why aren't you like, and they compare to your other sibling. When you get to school, they rank you first, second, third, heaven help you if you come past 10th. Oh, God. When you get into a relationship, depending on who your spouse is, they might say, my other, and if you rank at the top of the list, you perhaps have this overinflated ego of who you are. And if you are always down at the bottom of the list in your head, the self-esteem becomes very low. I want you to know that you are enough. And in the morning when you get up, regardless of where you are, you look in the mirror. I am enough. I am enough. And you say it over and over and over and over. Repetition is the first law of learning. And you will soon feel better in yourself that you can go out and do. Now, this one here is living in a spirit of gratitude. And you hear people saying you must give thanks all the time. But I tell you that this tool here will alleviate stress, keep you positive and hopeful and in a good vibration. Being thankful for everything. Not just the good things, because we can be thankful for the good things. You see this cat here drinking my wine? Happy? Just being thankful. Family, there is a lot of things that happen that you can't see. So what we see here in the physical is just the tip of the iceberg, really. And you have no idea of what the undercurrent is, what the great master is doing. Physics tells you that there is always an equal and opposite. So even if it looks bad, there is an opposite good. And what you need to do is to know that there is an opposite good. I can't really see it right now, but I'm going to just give thanks. I'm just going to give thanks. I'm just going to give thanks. I want you to give thanks for your teachers. When you're doing your little devotion, go back to basic school and remember Miss Amy who taught you so and so. Go to primary school, remember so and so, and just thank them all the way up to university. You will feel a natural high. And it will also help you to understand who you are as teacher, who you are as educator. Give thanks for your job. And we fuss and we quarrel. The money is not enough. It is just too stressful. Don't they know that we are the molders of the nation? And we're not happy about. And I'm going to tell you a secret. The person from the ministry isn't here yet. So, are they? No? Yes? All right. So when I opted for SERP, I opted to leave the ministry early. And when I left, I was angry. And my coach, everybody needs a coach, you know. When you're going, you're moving, and you're transitioning, you need somebody to kind of help you. Somebody who has done it before. And my coach said, Kadeen, I need you to write 10 things that you're grateful for the Ministry of Education for. 10? You gotta be kidding me. And he said, no, you sit and write it. And it took a little while. And I got to 6, and I said, And I wrote the 10. And by the time I wrote the 10, I was so thankful for that opportunity to work with the Ministry of Education. And I said, see, my 10. And he says, write 10 more. And by that time, I was so willing to engage in the process. I mean, no, they could employ me as PR person for the ministry. How you can recognize the good in the things. Some of the things, when I wrote them down initially, I crossed it off. I said, but that's not good. But when I thought about it, and the lessons learned, once you learn a lesson, you know, it's good, because you're not going to do it again. That's all? All right. So you find out what are the things in my job that I really, really like, and you start to write them down, and you're going to find a different kind of feeling. Give thanks as if you give thanks for the things that you want, as if you already have it. And the Bible tells you to do that too. So the things that you want, the life you want to live, have a very clear picture in your mind. God has a very, what is the sense of humor now? A very good sense of humor, I call it. So you have to be you get what you ask for, you know. You have to be very clear about what you want. And then you live from that point. And you say, thank you, thank you, thank you. That is important for us. Now, when I was growing up, and many of us, it is be with someone that makes you happy. You are told to find a spouse that makes you happy. Not true? We were told that. However, that is not it. Be someone that makes you happy. You have to make yourself happy. And you have to ask yourself the question, if you met you, would you like you? If you met you, would you like you? And if you wouldn't like you, nobody's going to like you either. If you look in the mirror and you don't see this attractive person, your spouse not going to see you as attractive either, because you are projecting what you believe inside of your head. Now, in our schools, I think we need to spend a little more time teaching the strategy of decision making. We make our decisions for our children, which high school they must go, which career they must choose, and so on. And at the end of the day, they're always coming to us. What do you think about so-and-so? What do you think about so-and-so? We don't teach them how to make their own decisions. And what happens now, and we don't know how to make our own decisions, we always go, Doc, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think, Dr. D? You know, I would want to do my doctorate. And you go to your close friend, and they say, no? You save any money? You're going to make it back? That make no sense? And you don't do it. So whose life were you living now? Yours or your friend's? Your friend. So you end up living somebody else's life because you have allowed them to make a decision for you. Teach your children, teach yourself to make decisions. So you're not living that ambivalent life of, you know, is this really me? Am I doing what I really want to do? Or am I listening to? And so. Now, this was the key for me. Let go whatever no longer serves you, grows you, or makes you happy. And I want you to put little columns in your life. The financial part, the spiritual part, the academic part, the emotional part, and you divide it up into family and so on. A lot of us refuse to let go of things that make us unhappy. When you're driving home in the evening, it's like you have a millstone over your neck. But you're not going to let it go. I remember when I decided to divorce my first husband. And I told my auntie, she said, are you crazy? He works at the university and you're going to divorce him? But auntie, I'm not happy. What is wrong with you? Too miserable. You want. Be satisfied, girl. And I said, no, I'm going to do it. And she said, all right, but don't tell anybody. And we live with all of that because of what people will think. And as educators, oh gosh, we are so guilty of that. So we never really live our true selves, you know, because we have to think about what society will think, what the church will think. And I'm from a long line of people who never divorce. How you come up with that? Where you come from? Why are you failing like that? Let go what no longer serves you. Family, you are the average of your 5 closest friends. So if there is anything that you need to change, you have to look at where they are. And you might need to let them go. And you tighten your little circle. You tighten your little circle. You tighten your little circle. If I want to increase the amount of money in my bank account, I have to look at how many power suits I'm going to relinquish for this year. Because we're like, we're educators, we're going, we have to look. Nobody really looks at you and say, but Doc did wear this suit last year. Unless you go back to the picture. Yeah, some people were good at it like that, but most people are not. So we can mix and match and cut down on that. If you find that your 5 closest friends every Friday evening you have to be out partying or something, it means that you're not going to have the savings that you want. You're not going to have the investment that you want. If your 5 closest friends are, and I'm going personal now rather than the professional, because your 5 closest friends talk to married men, you will not get married. Because odds are you're doing the very same thing too. So cut. And really look, there are some things in our spiritual life that don't help us to grow anymore. Cut. I want you to spend some time doing that this evening when you get home. Now, this here is my decision making 4 questions go to all the time. And I make my decisions now very fast. First, I don't have to procrastinate. I don't have to call anybody. I know what I want, and I know how I'm going to go about it. So these are the 4 questions. Do I want to be, do, or have this? So you ask yourself that question in a decision. Will being, doing, or having this move me in the direction of my goal? Is being, doing, or having this in harmony with God's laws or the laws of the universe? Will being, doing, having this violate the rights of others? I should have 3 yeses and 1 no. 3 yeses and 1 no. So, I see Mr. Harvey over there. Take for instance, I'm single again. I see Mr. Harvey over there, and he has caught my eye. He's tall, he's handsome, and he looks strong. No. I want a man now in my life. I'm at that stage when I think I should settle down. So, Mr. Harvey is the one. It will move me in the direction of my goal, yes, of having this tall, dark, handsome, strong man in my life. God wants me to get married. That is part of God's laws. I get yes. However, will being, doing, or having this violate the rights of others? Yes. Because guess what happened? He's married. So right there, me stop. I don't have to go on a first date. I don't have to go on a second date. I don't have to ask my friends if they know his wife, if they're having a happy life. I stop. You understand? I don't have to ask anybody. I would have made my decision. All right. So now I can perhaps look for Mr. Crew. Where's Mr. Crew? He is not. Mr. Crew is not married. A better case. However, on the flip side now, so we wouldn't violate anybody's rights. We could get married. But suppose Mr. Crew wants to have children, biological children. And he really have hope of money that he wants to give his biological child. Marrying me would not make much sense. So don't go down the road of fooling up my head. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Early, quick. Do I want a car? Da. I'm not violating anybody's right. I'm not thieving anybody's things. I'm going to move and I'm going to purchase this car because it's going to take me from point A to point B and so. Do I want this house? Da. Same way. And I want you to, it might come up again, but when I say, and when you tell your children, think big, don't cut it back in the middle of it and then say, be realistic. It's a flip-flop. When I'm realistic, I can do things on my own. It doesn't take any great passion. I can do it. It's realistic. When I say think big, I'm now going into the realm of who God is. And we're going to work together, me and God, to see how far this can go. And that is where the think big is. And that, I believe, is where we should tell our children to go. To think beyond. So, those are our 4 questions. Use them. Now, if you're not doing what you love, you are wasting your time. What are you trading your life for? I believe that being an educator is the highest teacher, is the highest calling you could ever have. The greatest of purpose. Being able to pull the genius out of another life. You're not pouring anything, you really don't have that. You're pulling out. You're pulling out. And you have that to do. You have that, you have the nation's top 1% to ensure that there are innovators and creators and so on. It's a beautiful job. It's a beautiful vocation. And I want you to go back to feeling that love for that vocation. However, if after you've done this reflection and you're not finding the love, you're wasting your time. And you're wasting your purpose. And you're wasting what God has put you on this earth for. Leave it. All right, just a little bit of how our lives are and the vibration and the frequencies that we live on. Now, a lot of us, although we are at the top of our game in terms of our education and our academic prowess and so on, we are way down the bottom. We live a very contracted life. And most of the time we're like this. Where we're still guilty about something that we did from God knows when. We don't care that much. I'm not going to kill up myself and drop down and dead. We live in fear. I'm not going here. I don't want nobody to shoot me. Boy, don't go down there, sir. The poor little child wants to explore life. No. We live there, sir, and it's very contracted. Very, very tight. We need to move up. Courage. Neutrality. You are JLP, I am PNP. It's a different point of view. I might try and change your way based on my experiences and so on, but you might not. And I respect that and I go along. We live together. We accept. Reason is important. And we move to that place of love and joy and peace. And when the enlightenment comes at some point. Now, this is important for us as educators and as people. those of us who believe in God or believe there is a God, please raise your hand for me. All right, good. So I'm in the right place. We say all the time, I say all the time, wherever I am, God is, and all is well. Who says that? Don't we say it? So why all the time? Earthquake, the bank called me. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. We need to integrate what we say we know with what we do. Science, our motto says, out of many, one. Do we believe it? Do we act on it, really and truly? Or are we always saying, the Chinese, them going to take over, the Indian, them have all the money, black people don't like one another? We teach our children the motto. We should live by the motto, but do we? The Ministry of Education's motto, all children can learn, all children must learn. You realize that our approach would be totally different if we believe that. It means now that I want us to spend a little time integrating what we say we believe and what we do. What we do. Now, we believe in God. We say we're children of God. We say our Father has many houses and lands. And science and religion tell us the very same thing. There's no one else like you. Science tells you that. Religion tells you that. Yet, I spend a whole heap of time looking at the other. Envy is ignorance. Imitation is suicide. So to envy someone else doesn't make any sense. You're acting outside the realm of knowledge. Because I don't have to envy you. I am totally different from you. I am me. No need. No need for me to imitate anybody else. There are some good points in someone that I say, oh, I like that. But I don't want to be that person. When we start to understand that, then you start to feel your own presence in God and become strong. You can move forward. Who says amen to that? No need to look at who is vice principal, who is principal, who is HOD, blah, blah, blah. So they buy a new car. And then why they always wear, how them can afford Gucci bag, da. Don't we do that all the time? Seriously? Yes. The only person you should be comparing yourself with is you. And what you're going to do is to strive to be 1% better every day. You're bettering yourself. 1%. Just 1%. And if something happens and you never get it done, don't beat up yourself. All the whole week you move past another 1%. Don't beat up yourself. Get back on track. Get back on track. And it's you becoming very focused on who you are and how you want to move. Now, it is important along this path that you develop self-discipline. We'll say that educators are very disciplined. We write our plans, we get to work on time, we mark our... But if there were no guidelines like that, we wouldn't do it. It is important that you know what you want and you become very focused. Now, I can't read it over there, but the whole idea is that you can't stop and throw stones at every dog that barks. And we do that all the time. And what happens is we get very scattered. So we're gone off with the violence in the country, the child abuse, or children, or everything. We stop. The pothole in the road, everything. And we're like this. I want you to focus. I can help the situation with child abuse. I can go into my community. I can create a program. I can help that. Am I going to complain about the potholes? I can write, or my community association can patch out a little thing with something. If I can't do that, I leave home a little earlier and take my time. So I am not distressed and my car is not distressed. And you focus on some things. Put in action what you can do and you leave the rest. Have a morning ritual. Wake up half an hour earlier when the husband and the children and the grandchildren are not there and not awake yet. And start your ritual. Write down your goal. Family, I have a goal card and I keep it in my handbag. So invariably, I remember it. My hand touches it and I remember what I'm about, where I want to go. Write down your goal. Write it down. If I ask you, what is your goal? Where do you want to see yourself in 5 years? A lot of people can't tell me, I'm not so sure. You must be very, very, very clear about what you want. Write it down in the morning so it helps you along your way as you go. Write down 10 things that you're grateful for. And then ask for God's guidance. There's bigger than you. And expect the guidance, Ask for guidance. And the gentleman who prayed said we should forgive. Send love to 3 people who are bothering you. Now, if you don't have anybody bothering you, don't conjure up anybody. But I know some people say, only 3. Just in your prayer, ask them to forgive you, you forgive them, and you love them. And you do it over and over. The whole point of that exercise is to release yourself. You cannot go forward if you have other people's thing on your back, pulling you down all the time. So you're releasing them so that you can move towards your goal. And then the last thing I want you to remember as we go along this pathway is that there is a rhythm and a cycle in life. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. The ebb and flow. And just recognize that you're not going to be up there so all the time. And when you're down here, spend a little time in rest. Still give your thanks, and you will ascend again. When something goes wrong, give yourself permission to press pause on the panic button. Give yourself 3 days to look for the good in this situation. And I tell you, at the end of the 3 days, you will find it. You will find it. Just give yourself permission not to say, all right, I take this up on Friday. Let me see. I'm going to see what good is going to come out of this. Remember now that all of these things that CCCJ is putting forward, and the Ministry of Education, all of this self-help. We can go with you, but we can't do it for you. It is a personal journey that you have to decide to take for yourself. Just adopt even one, and you're going to see significant change in your life. I thank you. Oh, step away. Step away.
Thank you, Mrs. Smiles Campbell. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a wonderful presentation. Give her another round of applause. And she has reminded us of many things, and she has taught us some new things. One of the new things I learned is that I am an average of my 5 closest friends. I didn't realize that. But, you know, as I sat there and I thought about it, I kind of start to accept it as a possibility, right? And so you have reminded us of the importance of taking care of self, be willing to change our image, recognize what we can control and what we can't, live in a spirit of gratitude, to perfect that art of decision making, and all of that, those wonderful things. Thank you for reminding us of those things. And I know that there are persons here with burning questions, and I think we have just about 3 or 4 minutes, so I'm going to open up for questions. We'll take a few questions and then we will move on. And I don't want any question about the mind-blowing research, right? Any questions? All right, so I take it then that we all absorb like sponges the ideas that were put out, and we were able to assimilate, and hopefully we'll be able to synthesize and analyze and apply and so on and so forth. All right, so with that, I'm going to invite Mrs. Marcia Nemard from Montee College. There is a token that we would want to present to Mrs. Miles Campbell, and I'm going to ask her to come and do that.
We should go down to where CCJ is.
While they're taking the pictures and doing the presentation, I just want to remind you that we're going to be having a brief discussion from Sagicor, so I'm going to ask the Sagicor persons to stand by. They will be coming before our next plenary. So Sagicor personnel, please stand by.
And enlightening. We found it quite edifying. And so we want to say thank you. The strategies and the tools you have presented, they are doable, workable. And on our journey towards self-care, we will indeed apply them. And we know that at the end, we are going to be better. We thank you so very much. Please accept this token as, for this token as our appreciation for you coming and, of course, sharing your knowledge with us.
And so I understand why when I walked in, she came to me and she asked, "Are you married?" You know, so I understand. Are the Sagicor persons ready? All right. The Sagicor persons are not ready, so they are coming. Okay.